Imagine walking through America, a country famous for skyscrapers, million-dollar mansions, and the American dream of owning a beautiful home. But what if I told you there are towns where you could buy a house for less than the price of a second-hand car? Yes, you heard that right. In some corners of the United States, the cost of a home is not $400,000 like the national average, it's closer to $10,000, sometimes even less. These towns look like something out of a ghost story. Streets are empty, old factories stand in silence, and houses sit abandoned, yet they're still waiting for someone willing to call them home. The shocking part? Many of these houses are still in decent condition. 2 bedrooms, a small yard, maybe even a garage, yet the price tag looks like a typo on Zillow. Some Americans joke, for the price of a fancy dinner in New York, you could own a house in West Virginia. Others warn that cheap homes come with hidden costs. Crime, unemployment, or the eerie feeling of living in a half-empty town. Still, the idea itself is irresistible, the chance to live the American dream without the American price tag. Today, we're traveling through 20 towns with the cheapest houses in America. Each one tells a story not just of low prices, but of history, culture, and the strange twists that made them what they are. By the end, you might find yourself wondering, would I dare to pack my bags and move to one of these places? When most people think about buying a home in America, the first numbers that come to mind are enormous. According to the National Association of Realtors, the median home price in 2024 hovered around $420,000. In cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, or New York, that number skyrockets past $1 million for a modest apartment. The American dream of homeownership, once considered achievable, has now become distant for many families. But hidden behind the glittering skylines, there's another America. In small towns tucked away in the Rust Belt, the Appalachian Mountains, or the quiet Midwest, houses sell for the cost of a year's rent in a big city. Why are these houses so cheap? The reasons are both economic and cultural. Many of these towns were once thriving industrial centers, steel mills, coal mines, or auto factories fueled their growth. But when industries collapsed, jobs vanished, and people left in search of opportunities elsewhere. What's left behind? Streets lined with empty houses, schools closing their doors, and properties losing value year after year. Yet, for adventurous souls or bargain hunters, this creates an unusual opportunity. Imagine buying a 3-bedroom house with a yard for the same price as a designer handbag in New York. Some towns even experiment with incentives, offering cash, free land, or tax breaks just to attract new residents. At the same time, these places hold stories, some tragic, some bizarre, and some surprisingly heartwarming. Understanding these cheap towns isn't just about real estate. It's about seeing a forgotten America. A place where the American dream feels broken, but where, for the right person, it might be rebuilt from scratch. To truly understand why some American towns have the cheapest homes in the nation, we need to rewind history. Each of these places carries a story, often tied to boom and bust cycles of industry. Take Cairo, Illinois, for example. Once a bustling river town at the meeting point of the Mississippi and Ohio rivers, it thrived as a trade hub in the 19th century. But racial tensions, economic decline, and shifting trade routes left the town nearly abandoned. Today, houses sit on the market for as little as $20,000. Or consider Detroit, Michigan, once the proud Motor City, birthplace of Ford, GM, and Chrysler. During its golden age, Detroit was booming with jobs, music, and innovation. But when factories closed and the auto industry faltered, entire neighborhoods collapsed. In the 2010s, houses were famously auctioned for as little as $1. In Gary, Indiana, once home to massive steel production, the story feels eerily similar. At its peak, Gary had nearly 200,000 residents. Today, it's closer to 70,000, with entire blocks left empty. Homes that once sheltered factory workers now sell for $15,000 to $30,000. In the Appalachian region, West Virginia, Kentucky, parts of Ohio, coal mining was once the lifeblood. But when mines closed, towns emptied. Now you can find entire houses for under $40,000, surrounded by mountains and forests. The irony is that many of these places were once symbols of the American dream: hard work, prosperity, and community. Now, they've become symbols of another America, one that's been forgotten, overlooked, and undervalued. Yet for every decline, there's also resilience. Some towns are fighting back, turning abandoned homes into art projects or affordable housing for young families. Others lean into their quirks: ghost tours, buy a house for $1 campaigns, or festivals that attract curious visitors. Each cheap town has its origin story, and often, that story is just as fascinating as the price tag. So what does life really look like today in America's cheapest towns? To answer that, let's walk through 20 specific towns where houses cost less than many cars. 1. Cairo, Illinois, almost abandoned, home prices under $30,000. Streets are empty, but the town is frozen in time. 2. Detroit, Michigan, outskirts, famous for $1 homes, still neighborhoods under $40,000. Some people buy to flip, others to gamble with history. 3. Gary, Indiana, steel town turned ghost town. Homes for $20,000. Life here is quiet, sometimes eerily so. 4. Camden, Arkansas, $60,000 homes, southern charm but struggling economy. 5. Youngstown, Ohio, affordable, but haunted by factory closures. $50,000 buys a family home. 6. Pine Bluff, Arkansas, $50,000 homes, but high unemployment makes staying tough. 7. Johnstown, Pennsylvania, $45,000 homes, once a coal hub, now a fading memory. 8. Beckley, West Virginia, mountain life, houses for $70,000, beautiful but isolated. 9. Danville, Illinois, old Victorian houses for $60,000. History lives on every street. 10. Huntington, West Virginia, $80,000 homes, boosted by college students. 11. Buffalo, New York, outer areas, some homes $55,000. Snowy winters, cheap houses. 12. Bessemer, Alabama, $65,000 homes, strong southern roots, slow revival. 13. Saginaw, Michigan, $30,000 homes, 2 floors, empty neighborhoods. 14. Cumberland, Maryland, $70,000 homes in scenic mountains, but few jobs. 15. Rockford, Illinois, $90,000 homes, affordable city life with Midwest charm. 16. Erie, Pennsylvania, $75,000 homes by the lake, sunsets priceless. 17. Toledo, Ohio, $80,000 homes, underrated city with working-class spirit. 18. Flint, Michigan, $35,000 homes, water crisis scars still remain. 19. Scranton, Pennsylvania, $80,000 homes, pop culture fame from The Office. 20. Parkersburg, West Virginia, $60,000 homes, small-town America preserved. But cheap doesn't always mean cheerful. Many of these towns face harsh realities: high crime rates, shrinking schools, limited hospitals, and few job opportunities. Yet, there is a strange appeal. For city dwellers priced out of the housing market, the idea of owning a full house for $30,000 feels like stepping into a dream. For digital nomads or remote workers, these towns offer quiet, space, and freedom. And for curious travelers, they've become destinations: ghost town tours, abandoned house explorations, or TikTok videos that go viral. In other words, these towns may have lost their industries, but they've gained a new kind of spotlight. On the surface, cheap houses might just seem like a real estate story. But in reality, these towns reveal something much bigger about America's culture and identity. They represent both the rise and fall of the American dream. In places like Detroit or Gary, homes once symbolized stability for factory workers. Owning a house meant security, community, and pride. Today, the same houses are sold for the price of a second-hand iPhone, symbolizing how fragile that dream can be. Yet paradoxically, that very fragility is what makes these towns fascinating to outsiders. Social media has turned cheap houses into viral content. TikTokers tour abandoned houses, YouTubers buy $5,000 homes, and bloggers write about the cheapest house in America. For travelers, the appeal is almost cinematic. Walking through a ghost town feels like time travel, with old signs, cracked sidewalks, and houses filled with relics of the past. For some, these towns are spooky. For others, they're inspiring. Proof that you can start fresh somewhere cheap. Economically, they've also attracted niche groups. Remote workers escaping expensive cities. Retirees looking for quiet. Even artists turning abandoned houses into studios. Some towns now market their cheap housing as tourism itself. Festivals, art walks, and ghost tours draw curious visitors who want to see America's forgotten side. In short, cheap houses are more than bargains, they're cultural symbols. They remind us that America isn't just about skyscrapers and million-dollar condos. It's also about resilience, reinvention, and the strange beauty of places left behind. So there you have it, 20 towns across America where houses are cheaper than a brand new car. From Cairo, Illinois to Parkersburg, West Virginia, each one tells a story of rise, fall, and unexpected charm. These towns may not have the glitter of New York or Los Angeles, but they hold something else: authenticity, history, and mystery. They force us to ask, what really makes a home valuable? The price tag, or the story it carries? Imagine yourself, would you pack your bags and move to a quiet town where houses cost $20,000? Or would you prefer to stay in the busy cities, even if it means renting forever? The truth is, both choices say something about America itself, the land of extremes, contradictions, and endless stories. And that's why we explore them here on Only in America. If you enjoyed this journey into the strangest housing markets in the United States, don't forget to hit subscribe. Because next time, we'll uncover another unbelievable story you won't want to miss.